So people often think that you need to have confidence to take action. I think it's the other way around. You need to take action to build your confidence.
So why do you think these confident career conversations are more crucial now than ever in this post-pandemic hybrid world?
Yeah, it's interesting. The world of work has changed, and it changed during COVID, and it hasn't gone back. I don't know where it's going to land, but at the moment we are still working remotely, working in hybrid scenarios. And one of the things that we learned during COVID was that.
What is one conversation model or technique that can instantly improve manager and employee dialogue?
So in my book, Confident Career Conversations, I share a career conversation model. And this career conversation model, if you imagine a figure of 8.
And these days we often hear about finding the purpose, which sounds great. But how do we actually help employees discover purpose within their current roles? So, folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So, folks, we are joined by Antoinette Oglethorpe. She is a globally recognized leadership development expert, author, and keynote speaker who has worked with the top tier organizations, including WHO, World Health Organization, United Nations agencies, and the NHS. And with a deep expertise in career management and mentoring, she empowers organizations to engage and retain talent through purposeful and confident career conversations. So, before we get started, I would like to ask a basic question to Antoinette. Antoinette, first of all, why should our audience tune into this episode and spend their valuable time with us?
Oh, great question, Naveen. Well, we all know that career conversations should be happening, but so often they either don't happen at all or they happen not very well. And that is possibly not surprising for those that are working in organizations, but that has an impact on everybody. The employees themselves who feel disengaged, the managers they work for who are then fed up that they have a workforce that don't seem to be very engaged, and then the organizations because their best people leave them because they don't feel valued. So we're going to talk about how to have healthy career conversations and meaningful career conversations. So if you've ever had felt awkward about career conversation, it might help you as a leader. And if you've ever been disappointed in not having career conversations as an employee, it might help you too.
That's a great topic. So, folks, the topic is very clear. Career conversations that don't suck. The antidote to attrition. And before we get into our conversation, here is an exciting twist. As always, let us tickle our guest's brain first. So, Antoinette, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's get started.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
Okay. My first word is curiosity,
Spark,
invention,
breakthrough,
future,
possibility,
universe,
wonder,
leadership,
influence,
success,
happiness,
coaching,
clarity,
mentoring,
wisdom,
Career.
Journey.
Life.
Choice.
And here comes the last one, book.
Insight.
Wow, spot on. I loved all the lightning speed responses. Thank you so much for participating in the first rapid fire round. There is one more rapid fire round toward the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And first of all, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. And thank you so much for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely great. And thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Same here, likewise. And we'll get started. Talk to us about who is your guiding voice.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think it's a real blend of people, actually. I often hear the voices of people that have mentored me in the past and who have challenged me gently or who have believed in me or asked the right questions at the time. I'm a solutions-focused coach. So quite often I have this like inner coach that is asking me the questions that I would ask me if I was coaching me, which all sounds a bit strange. So yeah, I think it's that kind of inner inner coach and mentor.
Wow, I love it. And also, share your success mantra with us, as in the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
That's another great question. So I think one is curiosity and a
Mhm.
passion for learning. So one of my values and my company's values is to keep learning. And that's always something, I mean, I've made my career out of it. And I love learning new things, and there's always new things to learn. Um, I think the other is taking action even when I wasn't very confident. So people often think that you need to have confidence to take action. I think it's the other way around. You need to take action to build your confidence. So even at times that I didn't feel ready, and I suffer from imposter syndrome just like everybody, was
Mhm.
just, still taking action. Um, and I think the other is people. I think, I believe relationships are our greatest assets. And I think the people that I have connected with that have supported me, have helped me, have challenged me, mentored me, provided me with opportunities, that would be my third.
Mhm. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's talk about the career conversations. And my first question on the topic is, what is broken about the way most companies handle career development today, and how can they fix it?
So I think it depends which organization you talk to, but in some organizations, they just don't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
So it's not even a consideration. The organizations are simply interested in the performance of people and are not really thinking about their development and their progression. And the fact that for the people themselves, what's most important to them is their career. I think in other organizations, they do recognize that, but it's like a tick box exercise, and it's often shoehorned into some other HR process. So let's
Mhm.
have a question at the end of the performance review, which is a dreadful place to have it.
Right.
Yes, obviously performance and career development are related, but they're two separate conversations. And so, doing that also doesn't help. And I think the real thing is thinking about it as a system or a process.
Mhm.
So, when people say, "Oh, right, well, we need to focus more on career development," someone in the HR team will be tasked with devising a form or, an online system or something of that nature. And so it's very much about the HR process, which immediately makes it an admin task and a tick box exercise. I am an ex-HR person,
Mhm.
and everyone hates HR in organizations because they don't see them as helping them do their job. They
Mhm.
see them as adding to their job. So I think the key thing is we need to not start with it being a process or a system. We need to start with it being a conversation and something that is a tool to help leaders and managers increase the performance of their staff, you know, and engage their staff and retain their staff and develop their staff and make them more capable.
Yeah. I love the way you have put it. It is not about a system or a tick box exercise. Rather, people are involved and we need to have conversations. So, which is very important. And that actually leads to the segue into my next one. So, why do you think these confident career conversations are more crucial now than ever in this post pandemic hybrid world?
Yeah, it's interesting. The world of work has changed, and it changed during COVID, and it hasn't gone back. I don't know where it's going to land, but at the moment we are still working remotely, working in hybrid scenarios. And one of the things that we learned during COVID was that actually we needed to focus on people as people outside of the operation. And then it's almost like we've completely forgotten that lesson. And, COVID is now, not the way it was. And we've all gone straight back to the way we focused. So again, it's all about the operation. No one is focusing on the people again. Yet we're still working in the same way we worked during COVID, i.e. people remote, virtual, hybrid.
Mhm.
And so I wished that we had retained some of those behaviors that we implemented during COVID, where people realized we just had to treat people like human beings and
Yeah.
say, we're going to hey, let's just have a coffee. Let's have a conversation about you. How are you doing, Naveen? How are you getting on? What's working? What isn't working?
Yeah.
Um, and and so I think it's more, and during COVID, the other thing that happened was people started thinking about what was really important to them. And actually, it wasn't all about sacrificing their life and their well-being for their employer. They had to think about their own purpose in life and, what was important to them. So, we've got employees still thinking that.
Mhm.
They haven't forgotten those lessons. But managers and organizations seem to have forgotten the lessons that they learned. And that's why I think focusing more than ever on conversations is really important.
Yeah. So one thing what I have noticed also the same thing that you have mentioned, like during COVID, there was sort of increase in empathy, and we have seen a little bit of decline at this moment, and people are taking employees for granted in certain organizations, and which I have also observed. And moving to the next one, what is one conversation model or technique that can instantly improve manager and employee dialogue?
So in my book, Confident Career Conversations, I share a career conversation model.
Mhm.
And this career conversation model, if you imagine a figure of eight,
Mhm.
the infinity symbol, it's that. And the left-hand loop of the eight is about the past.
Mhm.
And career development, of course, we all think it's all about the future, and it is. But actually, helping individuals reflect on their past is really important to help them develop insight and self-awareness. So that element of the model is about learning from the past, talking to employees, asking them powerful solution-focused questions to help them reflect on and learn from the past and develop insight and self-awareness into who they are, what's important to them, what their strengths are, etc., etc. Because it's when they have that self-awareness that you can move to the right-hand loop of our figure of eight, which is about dreaming about the future.
Mhm.
And so this is about people's career aspirations. And we are very focused on making them very aspirational. That's why we say dream about the future. Because actually, it's a bit like moving towards the horizon. And that's what career development, you never really achieve what you want to achieve, because as you progress towards it, your vision of success keeps developing and moving ahead of you. So we want to be continually moving towards it, but it doesn't have to be a SMART goal with specific timelines. And then the third element of the model is about taking action. So if
Right.
you have one eye on the horizon and
Mhm.
one eye on where you are right now, what are the small steps you can take in the next few months, in the next year, to move towards your future success? So yeah, learn from the past, dream about the future, and take action in the present.
Wow. So profound. Also, can you walk us through a practical framework or a tool that you have created or championed, so which the managers can use today?
Yeah, so that dreaming about the future, one of the tools, so alongside this career conversation model is our career conversation toolkit, which I designed in order to give managers powerful solution focused questions they can ask employees to have these conversations. One of the tools is the future success tool. And the challenge when you talk to employees about their aspirations is they often describe them in terms of a job title or a grade. So I want to be a manager. I want to be a this. I want to be a grade, a grade P10 or whatever it might be. And that is incredibly difficult for the managers because they do not have the authority to actually grant that.
Mhm.
And so we encourage people to describe their aspirations not by job or job title or grade, but by what they actually want their work experience to be.
Mhm.
So in the future success tool, we say, if you could wave a magic wand and your career progressed perfectly, what would you be doing day to day?
Mhm.
Where would you be working? Who would you be working with and for?
Mhm.
What would you be producing? Yeah, why is all that important to you?
Yeah.
And when you get a description like that, that gives the manager many more possibilities to actually provide opportunities in the current role to get more of that and move towards that.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. And how do you help someone stuck in a role they have outgrown but are afraid to leave? We see this most often in the organization. Somebody stay stuck. Okay, maybe they are afraid to move or whatever could be the reason.
Yeah. And I think the first thing is to actually acknowledge that that situation and express empathy and recognition, and also shine a light on their progress and achievements, because if they're feeling stuck, it often and feeling that they've outgrown the role, they obviously feel that they've learned everything they can, and and they've already achieved everything they can. Another of our tools is called the career checkpoint tool.
Hmm.
And I would use that. And I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is your perfect role
Okay.
and 1 is the opposite, where are you right now?
Hmm.
And I'm guessing that they would say something around 7.
Right.
Um, and so we would kind of say, okay, well, what is it that makes it 7? What,
Hmm.
what is working? Yeah, how come it's that and not lower? So you explore all the ways in which the role is actually meeting their needs, things that they might have forgotten about. Often it's the people they work with, the people they're mentoring, the people they're managing, lots of satisfaction that they're getting. And then we can explore, okay, what can we do in the current role that can move it one step up, move it to 8 or 9 or 10? And what outside the current role might fill the need? So, okay, you might have outgrown the role, but maybe there are people you can mentor, projects that you can get involved in, extracurricular assignments. So you can then explore other opportunities that don't necessarily mean having to change role,
Hmm.
but would develop people's readiness so that when a new opportunity becomes available, they've got more of the experience that they need.
Yeah, that's a great advice. And these days, we often hear about finding the purpose, which sounds great. But how do we actually help employees discover purpose within their current roles?
And I think that comes back to helping them reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, one of our tools is called the Your Journey So Far tool. And this is about helping people reflect on their career to date. And that might be reflecting on their time in their current role. It might be, in the current organization. It might be their whole career.
Right.
And really getting them to think about what were they most proud of? What did they enjoy most? What gave them most satisfaction? What was it about those high points that was
Mm-hmm.
particularly rewarding?
Right.
Because all of that then helps people identify what's important to them
Mm-hmm.
and what drives them and what motivates them. And then once they're clear on that, then they can work out how they might find more of that purpose in their current role.
Yeah.
So I think purpose can sound very mythical and
Mm.
very abstract. And people can feel a bit lost and that they're looking outside of themselves for this mythical being. Whereas actually it's about, our inner core, and people already have that purpose. They just need to tap into it. And so reflecting back on their career to date can really help them connect with it.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into the second rapid fire, I have a basic question. Like, why have you shifted your focus on career conversation? Is there any background to it in terms of why your focus is on career conversations and also authoring the book?
Yes, well, it comes from my own experience. I took, it actually was from a redundancy experience.
Mm.
So my first graduate job was with Procter and Gamble, P&G, developing washing powders. And 4.5 years into that, I decided that I preferred people to washing powders. And so, P&G is a very good company, but they didn't have that opportunity for me at the time to move into HR. So eventually we agreed that I would take voluntary redundancy. And because P&G are a fantastic company, they gave me support in the form of a coach, a career coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just revelationary.
Ah.
Because I went in there thinking he was just going to get me a job, and I went in with my CV all ready, and he was just like, slow down, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you, you want to focus on your career. Businesses want to focus on their organization. If you're going to get what you want, you need to connect it what the organization needs. So first we need to actually work out what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously I got that. I developed this insight, this self-awareness, this purpose. And I was very lucky that all that happened when I was 27 years old. And I thought, gosh, why do people only have these conversations when they're leaving an organization
Mm-hmm.
rather than to help them stay and develop within the organization?
Yeah.
And so I've been passionate about bringing career conversation into organizations ever since.
Excellent. Got it. And this has been fabulous conversation and a lot of insights around career conversation. And it's time for us to kick off the second rapid fire round to add some spice and excitement to the episode. So shall we get started?
Yes.
Okay, here comes my first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Success isn't following someone else's map. It's creating your own.
Wow. Create your own map. Awesome. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Empowering.
Empowering. Awesome. And what is the most surprising career advice you have ever given or received? You can share either of them.
Your next best step might not be a step up.
Mm-hmm. Superb.
And that was given to me, and I've now given it to others.
It makes sense, actually. Yeah. And one word that defines a great mentor,
Listener.
a career myth you would love to bust.
Success is not all about promotions and pay rises. It's about enjoyability and employability.
Wow. And imagine you are mentoring a fictional character. Who would you choose and why?
Oh, gosh. Um, I'm going to say Elizabeth Bennet,
Uh-huh.
because she, already has the spark. She has the confidence, the curiosity, quite a strong sense of self. But she's living in a world that doesn't value those traits. And so I think trying to help her connect what she wants
Okay.
to what the world wants that she's living in.
Excellent. All right, here comes the last one for the second rapid fire. What is one fantasy gadget or an electronic gadget that you like to see or invent yourself?
Um, some kind of clarity gadget. So something that whenever you're stuck,
Mm-hmm.
actually um, gives you that clarity of what's important. So maybe you press it and it asks questions, or maybe it gives advice. So like an on your wrist mentor.
Mm. Love the idea. I think this is a great startup idea for someone tuning in. And after that amazing second rapid fire, let's flip back to the mainstream. So, Antoinette, how can leaders build a mentoring culture when they themselves are time starved or overwhelmed?
The big myth around mentoring is that it has to be kind of long conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and something separate to the work. And if you look at it like that, it's never going to happen. We're all way too busy. So I think we have to redefine mentoring as everyday moments. So, you know, 5-minute conversations, as part of other meetings that we don't have to have, it doesn't have to be mentor and mentee. It can be with peers, it can be with colleagues. Managers can introduce it as part of meetings. So you might have a habit that says at the beginning of every meeting, in fact, I do this with my own team. We say, okay, what's one thing you've learnt this week? Or what's one thing that you're most proud of since we last met? Or what's one key challenge that others can help you with today? So that doesn't have to take a lot of time. And actually, it can be part of the work, not extra to the work.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. And just to sum it up, you don't need to block half an hour or 1 hour. It could be a short conversation as well, and it could be a simple question. Amazing. And I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, Antoinette. And how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice podcast?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, I love your energy, Naveen. The rapid fire adds a little bit of nerves and spice and fun. So no, it's been wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the kind words. And also thank you for being part of our journey. And looking forward to hosting you again in the future on some interesting topic. And I wish you all the best in everything that you do.
Thank you, and to you.
Thank you so much. All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Antoinette Oglethorpe. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request in case if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful. Request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who'd also like TGV. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now it's time for us to hop into the trivia segment. Having had amazing conversation with Antoinette on career conversations, I thought I would present you few careers with surprising and quirky trivia, because sometimes they might sound oddball at first, but they are really, really interesting facts. And the first one is professional cuddler. Yes, it is real. People pay up to 6,000 to 10,000 rupees per hour, which is like close to say $100 to $150 for non-romantic and platonic cuddling sessions, mainly to deal with loneliness, anxiety, or touch starvation. And you are literally paid to snuggle strangers while staying strictly professional. And one client even requested a cuddling menu with options like the cola hold or spooning deluxe. The top cuddlers in the US and Japan make close to $40,000 to $80,000 per year. Okay, that's quite a lot of money, and that's an interesting profession. And next one is pet food taster. Again, interesting, right? So these brave souls taste government dog and cat food to ensure quality and flavor for humans, not for the pets. So texture, aroma, and mouthfeel are judged too. You know, imagine explaining this to your family. Like, I will eat dog food professionally, right? It is something sounds weird, but some testers say certain chicken flavored kibble tastes like roast dinner. And you know how much they get paid for? About 40K to 75K per year, depending on the experience. And third career is about golf ball diver. They dive into murky alligator filled ponds at golf courses to retrieve lost balls and resell them. And you go swimming with snapping turtles and end up funding your vacation, right? Basically, if we talk about the history, one diver reportedly collected over 100,000 balls in a year. And talking about the income, people make anywhere between 50K to 150K per year. Okay, and this is a real hustle. So, likewise, if you are aware of any interesting career options, do let me know. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you found it on social media platform, you can mention there also. So that's it for today's episode. And folks, thank you once again for being part of our awesome TGV family. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.